A character that is known to be very sweet, innocent, and can be sometimes a little bit childish is CZ, or as I like to kind of refer to her as Poppy from Xenoblade 2. And she has been a character that I feel like has definitely had some very small spotlights in especially the sort of earlier volumes of the light novels and in seasons 1, 2, and 3, but has had a major spotlight in volume 13. And I will get into that particular volume and her major role in it at the end of the video. So for those that don't want spoilers, I will leave the spoiler stuff to the end of the video. But getting into her personality, I find that she is such a sweet and innocent character, though she definitely has those moments where she shows no emotions because, again, as her race says, she is automation, she is a machine, and so that kind of leads her to being very silent in nature, being very emotionless, and because her karma is at positive 100, which is the same as Yuri, they are the two major play team maids that are probably the easiest to get along with if you are anyone outside of the tomb or a human. And though Yuri would probably be a little bit more sociable, and CZ is definitely not that sociable, in most situations she is generally very silent, doesn't want to really contribute to a conversation, and only in the later volumes of the light novel does she really take a step forward in socializing with people outside of the tomb, and she is officially the first person from the tomb to actually make a human friend. I find her to be kind of that situation of, imagine if Ainz brought his kid to work day, and this is essentially it. She is very sweet, very innocent, but can still be very childish, and sometimes does things that the other guardians don't particularly want, especially when it comes to sort of her roaming around, finding things that she finds, cute and adorable, and sticking the 1 yen stickers on those things that she likes, while also, cuddling, cute things, until someone with authority comes along and says, you need to let go of that, you're squeezing it to death. And there's a particular lovely penguin in the Great Tomb that has this very ambitious dream of taking over the tomb, though CZ, when she gets the chance, she, goes and looks for this penguin, cuddles him, strangles him almost to death, and that's just kind of what I love about her. She's very sweet, very innocent, almost like, that child that you've brought to work. But that being said, if you're an ally, she can be perceived to be very sweet and innocent. Of course, you never want to get on the bad side of the Pleiades maids, but the other thing is also, with the fact that the Pleiades maids are seen as sisters, she is seen as the youngest sister in the way they treat her, they fondle over her, they're constantly fighting over getting her attention, wanting to sit next to her, she's treated as that cute, adorable little sister that you just kind of want to hold and keep away from all forms of harm. Though, again, as I said, being one of the Pleiades maids, she can be very lethal and dangerous, but because she has that positive karma, she would be probably one of the easiest to get along with Yuri. So, again, a very cute and sweet, innocent girl that she is. Now, when going over her abilities, powers, and her class build itself, she has 46 points as a total level. She has 5 points in automation, and this is, a little bit different to some of the other Pleiades maids. Some of the other Pleiades maids are more focused in racial levels and less in job levels, while CZ is more focused in job levels over the racial levels. And I feel a lot of that's just down to the fact that because she just has 5 points in automation, it's just a sort of a very blank kind of thing, give her the sort of robotic form or the sort of identity of, and so now she's more focused on the job levels with 10 points in Gunner, 3 points in Sniper, 3 points in Assassin, 3 points in Stalker, and 22 points left over, and we don't know where that is, but again, she has good abilities with physical attack, agility, so, she's very quick on her feet. She's able to get in and out of situations, get a couple of shots off, get out of the situation, and that's what I like about her. She's definitely one of those probably tactical situations where you can hold her at the back line, while some of the other Pleiades maids are more in the crossfire, in the middle, sort of, very hands-on in melee combat. She can focus at the back end and give support where needed, which is definitely shown in the anime and in the light novels, especially more like in the early stages of the story when you get to see her in more action. Though in the later light novels, you do get to see a little bit more of that with some of the interactions that she has with other particular characters that I'll get into later. But other than that, we don't really know too much about her other than her main equipment being a magic gun, the scarf, the perfume bottle. That's really all that we have in the sense of main equipment, though I've always wondered, because that she's been created at a later date compared to the other Pleiades Maids, so she's younger in comparison even to being created, as well as treated as younger. She was made during the Valkyrie Downfall patch. It makes me wonder if she's kind of like a Poppy from Xenoblade 2, where you could do alterations, not just gain levels, but also, you know, change equipment, and not just in the sense of weapons and armor, but also change mechanical parts, you know, alterations, say like there's CPUs, heat cores, etc. The same way as other games have done that kind of system. Is there more ways of altering her and improving upon her powers? And is this something maybe we could see at a later date, maybe her or other characters going on adventures and gaining more power as well? Because a lot of things that a lot of fans have been wondering is, can the Pleiades Maids gain more levels? Because they aren't max level, could they continue to level up if they're, you know, been interacting with the world, you know, killing monsters, etc. But at the same time, can possibly CZ get improvements on a mechanical level? So that's something I'm interested to know. We probably won't find out if that is to be a case for a much later date, but I'd love to ask the question off to you. What do you think of that? Do you think there is a possibility that there are mechanical upgrades for her? Or is it just going to be equipment in the sense of actual gear and weapons itself, and then just raw levels and adding more job levels as a whole? Now, I'm just going to give a major disclaimer here. This is going to be major spoiler territory. I'm going to be now talking about Volume 13 and some of the major stuff that happened with CZ and Nia. So if you're not wanting spoilers, click off. If you're into spoilers, continue listening. When discussing about Volume 13 and that being CZ's major stepping point, you know, with the previous volumes, CZ didn't really play much of a forward role in comparison to the other Pleiades Maids and even other characters in general. Volume 13 was where CZ really played a centerpiece. It's where she got the most character development. It was where she was able to interact with humans and actually be the first character to make a friend outside of the tomb, that being Nia. And I think what was good to see was that as, you know, she kind of stepped forward, she plays that role of, you know, Riv Demi pretending to be the big bad guy and Ainz trying to play off as that savior, and not even taking on the role of Momon, but actually taking on the role of Ainz, actually going forward as a sorcerer and an undead sorcerer saving people. CZ was able to essentially sort of change sides, even though, again, it's a big ruse, but Demi was essentially controlling, in the eyes of the humans, Demi was controlling the other Pleiades Maids, enslaving them and using them to wreak havoc. And so Ainz uses that as an opportunity to play as the savior, free one of the Pleiades Maids, get CZ to join him, and then that allows CZ to interact with the humans and being seen as a helping hand. And so this does two things. This allows CZ to be introduced to the humans on a more friendly term, while also, you know, painting Ainz as this big major savior. You know, he's not just freeing humans and saving them, but he's also saving those enslaved by Demi, playing that big overarching villain. And so with Nia being injected into the story more, taking the centerpiece and helping the humans, this allowed her to interact with Nia, and being that Nia was a big fan of Ainz, because Ainz took that, you know, central role at helping the humans even as a skeletal overlord, this allowed that slow, I would say almost cute interaction between them and them growing as characters, to the point where Ainz at the end of Volume 13 said to CZ, you know, how did you know your interactions go with Nia? And CZ saying, you know, we're friends. I think that really allowed CZ to gain a lot of experience with humans and learn how to interact with more humans. So going forward, it gives one major skill to the Pleiades Maids that some of the Pleiades Maids really lack, and being that Momon started his adventures, Riv, another Pleiades Maid, and he kind of regretted that because of how she was very cut and dry and very, you know, very passive aggressive towards other people. I think, you know, it would have been good to probably have a different Pleiades Maid, and I think CZ would have been the best option for that, because CZ is seen as a very cute and adorable character, and this really shows that. This gives that moment to shine where CZ can show that she is able to interact with humans and would be best suited to work with Momon. Though that sort of era is over and done with, I think if it was ever to be shown again and Momon was to go forward, maybe Nia working with her could show a sort of a bridge between Ainz and Momon. And that's kind of the whole point of CZ joining the front piece, is to show that Ainz as a sorcerer is a good guy, while also allowing the Pleiades Maids to play a bigger role. So I look forward to seeing the more further on volumes, seeing the Pleiades Maids play a closer role in the centerpiece with Ainz, but seeing CZ play a big piece with Nia was the one thing that I really loved, because as I said before, it gave CZ the necessary character building and the knowledge of how to work with humans, while other Pleiades Maids don't have those skills, you know, learnt yet. So will the other Pleiades maids learn that? I don't know, but I think CZ learning that was a major centerpiece for her as a character. But going forward, I look forward to seeing where CZ can go. Will there be, you know, upgrades to her actual sort of power internally, you know, CPUs, cores? Is there that kind of system and mechanics? We don't know that much on the mechanics side of things, though I think it's mostly just going to be mainly equipment and levels, though I'm kind of just geeking out of that idea of seeing sort of like a Poppy in Overlord. I think it will just be mainly levels and equipment. But going forward for the light novels and the anime, I look forward to seeing CZ grow as a character, and seeing that interaction of Nia and CZ in the anime will be absolutely adorable, because those two worked really well together. And even though it took some time for them to build up, they worked well together. They were able to, you know, communicate, work as a team. As time went on, they were able to build a bond. So I'd love to ask the question off to you: what do you like about CZ? Who is your favorite Pleiades maid? Just your overall thoughts and opinions about this particular character. But if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more anime content, and I will see you beautiful nerds in the next video.